All right, Father's Day, June 20. So we'll finally get into story time for this whole section. There's a lot of lessons to be learned in here. So these are all comprised of some of them are like really short stories and some of them are long ones. So just to give a backstory, this chef that I was supposed to work for, his restaurant was due to open. It got delayed by like a year and a half. I don't know why, construction, whatever. But right out of school, I was supposed to work for him at his new restaurant, but the restaurant got delayed because of construction. So just to make money and for whatever other reasons, he did private events and like house caterings and that kind of stuff. And that's what all of this is. It's mini stories of things that we did that had a little bit of ridiculousness in it. That's why it's worth telling a story about. But yeah, we'll just start at. So this was like a 1 to 1.5 year period while waiting for the restaurant to open, and these are just all. It's not in any particular order. Yeah, this was right before the restaurant opened. So let's see. We'll start over here, very first one. So this was actually later on. We already did quite a few events. This was closer to the end of it, but since I wrote over there, I'm gonna talk about that one. So I remember we did an event over there that we had to do like 1,000 plates of like we had the entree course, and there was a chef assigned to each course, and it was supposed to be, I think it was a Sony Open, and it was 1,000 courses, 1,000 dishes, and then like multiple courses that each chef was in charge of. So my chef was in charge of the entree, which was the short rib course. So there's the fish course, and then there's that course. And that's a separate story. But anyways, we did the event, and then we had leftover stuff stored in the freezer. And the convention center is huge. It's like 20 to 30,000 plus square feet at least. So like the kitchen is meant to handle thousands. It's like a factory. But yeah, we had some short ribs stored somewhere in one of the like 20 freezers, and my chef told me to go pick them up. So, and I was like 20 or 21 at this point. So I walked in there, and then I found the chef of the convention center. We'll call him Bob. I go up there, and I'm looking for the office, and then I find this office that's like pretty deep, and it's like an office for like 10 people. And then I peek my head in there, and I asked like, is Chef Bob here? And then there was like one of the people in the front, and I was like, yeah, he's back over there. And then I go and I ask if I can go back there, and then they say yeah. So I go back there and I talk to Bob, and I just say like, my chef sent me to pick up XYZ. And then he was like, yeah, he called me or whatever. And then we walk for like 5 minutes to the refrigerator, and then so it's like a big square, right? And we go like on the outskirts, that you don't go into the main kitchen in the middle, because it's like a mini square, and then like outer rim that has like racks on the outside, and it's like the main kitchen and the storage all around. So we get to the fridge. He's like, this is where all your stuff is. And he's like, it's this one, this one, this one, this one. And like everything's frozen, so it's really cold. I'm not gonna carry like 20-30 pounds of stuff frozen. And so so he just had to show it to me. He's like, yeah, take this stuff. And then so essentially I could have taken the stuff and just left, but because I thought like the right thing to do is to be respectful. Like after I take my stuff, I'm not just gonna leave these sheet pans that it's sitting on over there, because usually you try to leave it a little bit cleaner than when you found it. So like to take your stuff and then just leave the mess behind, which is like the racks that it's sitting on. I didn't want to do that. So first thing is I went outside to go find a cardboard box or something to ask them to if I could have a box so I could carry all that frozen stuff. And I found one of my classmates that works over there, and she was in the main kitchen in the middle with the sous chef of the convention center, like watching over like 10-20 people. And I went over to her and I was like, hey, and I'm here to pick up stuff. Can I have this cardboard box? Because she was cutting pineapples. It was like, oh yeah. And then so she gave me the pineapple box, and then I took it and I went in the freezer. I put the box down, I put all the meat into the box, and I grab all the sheet pans and I start walking it over to a dish pit. And then on my way there, I just hear the sous chef of the convention center be like, hey, come over here. And like, oh, okay. It's weird. He hasn't spoken to me before, and he's yelling at me, and I don't work for him. So I go over and I'm like, yes, chef, because I'm respectful and whatever. And he just goes off. Like he's like cutting something, and then there's these like other older guys next to him, and I don't know if he's trying to like act hard for them or something, but he's like, you know, it's really fucking disrespectful for you to come in here without addressing the chef and blah 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 blah. You just walk around like you own the place. And so I just stood there and I just waited for like 2 minutes for him to finish talking. And then after he finished like going off, and then like you could see the other guys, like these older convention cooks, they're like, yeah, give it to him. So disrespectful, like fuck this guy, bro, you gonna let him do that? I think so. They kind of egged him on, so he went for like 2 minutes, just like, and after he was finished, I said, chef, I already found Chef Bob, and he told me I could go in there and do that and do this, and yeah, basically I have permission to do what I'm doing. You're the sous chef, he's a chef. So even after that, he still went like, he still had to get his last word in, like, yeah, you know, it doesn't matter, still whatever. Like, what am I supposed to do? Go up to every chef in the place and be like, hello chef, I'm here to pick up this thing, and I'm gonna talk to all 10 chefs and cooks and what? That doesn't make sense. You just talk to the top person and you do it. And so that's a lesson in benefit of the doubt, I guess. So I dropped off the sheet pans, I got my meat, and I left. And then it was like it was a couple months later, and then it was just like this conversation came up with me and my chef, and the conversation came up with like I had to go back to a convention center or something. I was like, nah, I don't want to go. That chef over the sous chef over there was being an asshole or whatever, and like I didn't tell anybody because I was like, whatever. But then once I said that, he like squeezed it out of me. He's like, better fucking tell me, and that kind of stuff. So I told him the whole story of how he yelled at me, and then right there, while we were on a trip in California from Hawaii, he called the chef of the convention center, and he basically yelled at the chef of the convention center. He was like, hey, one of my cooks just told me that your sous chef was yelling at my cook. Nobody fucking does that. If anyone's supposed to yell at them, you tell me and I'll yell at them. And that whole thing. And then a couple weeks later, or maybe a month later, I heard that the sous chef got fired. I think he deserved it, but yeah, yelling at a 20-year-old, it's not cool. Just because you wanna flex on. flex your power, and you're a sous chef at a convention center. You're in your 30s or 40s. It's pretty sad. But yeah, that's that story. Let's see, what else? Oh, that was the first time that I felt like, okay, this chef actually has my back, because he showed it. Instead of always yelling at me, he yelled for me instead. One time, first and last time. So that's that story. I think that's 10 minutes. That is.